Hi, everybody. My name's Chris Long, and I'm a teacher on special assignment, kind of acting as a ed tech coordinator for my district, which is Huntington Beach Union High School District in California. And what we typically do at the start of the school year is go over any updates that have been made since the summer, and maybe even into the time where finals were approaching. I know Canvas came up with a few updates, but at that time, teachers are so hyper focused on finishing out the school year and responding to all the student concerns regarding grades and whatnot that it's quite possible that you might have missed something. So, the idea behind this presentation is really twofold, to give you um, my thoughts in a voiceover and in the form of a YouTube video, but also to give any admins or teachers in a similar role as myself, administrators, coaches, whatever the case may be, where you may be asked to kind of give an update on what's going on with Canvas and what's new, so that you can just take this presentation and just make a copy. So this is a Google presentation. So I've shared it. Anybody with link can view, and that means you can't change it, but I welcome you to make a copy, change anything that you would like, use anything in here that you would like. This is all public domain as far as I'm concerned. So please take advantage of that, and I hope this is useful to you and your teachers in some shape or form. So let's get back to the topic at hand. So I was just amazed this year at the marketing that went on around back to school. It gets more and more and more, and it seems like school hadn't even let out, and it wasn't even let out for a week, and we're getting mailers at our home about back to school stuff. And Cole's message was their message to our students was be yourself, and you see a picture of a young girl with obviously a new outfit on, and Cole's strategy here is they're going to give you coupons to help you be yourself. So I kind of thought that was interesting, and as I reflect on back to school time, and if you're walking the hallways of a school, college, even elementary school, all the kids are usually dressed in their nicest. They're wearing their back to school outfits. The guys maybe not so much accessorizing and everything, but usually the guys are proud of maybe a new pair of shoes, and it's usually the time of the year where the shoes are cleanest. So a while ago at an InstructureCon, I saw a new interface that Canvas was testing in their UX booth, and I signed up to give some opinions back, and I kept on wondering, when is this thing gonna ever when are we going to see this in Canvas? And so it's here. And if you like to kind of think of it, Canvas has a new outfit, and the technical name for it is user interface. But it's here. It's behind a feature flag, which means that your campus admin can turn it on or off whenever they would like. But at some point in the future, everybody's going to have it on. We talked to our teachers, and it was pretty unanimous that teachers don't like to change once the school year has started. And so for us, we're going to be brave, and we've turned it on. The first day it was available in production, it is on, and we're going live with it this week with students actually using it. So let's take a look at Canvas's new outfit. When you first log into the new outfit, we're gonna take a look at 6 things. We're not gonna take a look at every single thing, but I think 6 major things that should help you be comfortable. So when you first log into this new outfit, you're going to be in the page which they call dashboard, and you'll notice it says dashboard at the top here. And basically, you'll see a bunch of course cards for the courses that you are teaching. If those courses aren't exactly right there, I'll be addressing how you can put the courses that you want in that dashboard view. But as we dive deeper into the dashboard view, you'll notice if we zoom in here on one of those cards that there's some quick links. So you'll notice right over here, there's an announcement icon, there's an assignment icon, a discussion icon, and a file icon. This is actually smart. And let's say you weren't using announcements at all in that course. Well, you wouldn't see this at all. You would maybe see assignments and discussions and folders. You will only see what you're using. And if you haven't done anything in the course at all, you wouldn't have any icons at all. So this adapts, and it's kind of dynamic, so to speak, based upon what you're using. Also up here is a gear. And the gear allows you to color coordinate your outfit for the particular class. So you can pick from the color palette here, but there's millions of colors to pick from. All you have to know is the hex code. And if you don't know what the hex code of a color is, my suggestion is just do a Google search on hex code, and you'll find all these cool tools where they have all these color palettes, and you can just click on the color and you'll get this code. It's 6 digits. And you just type that in there, and you will be able to change your courses to whatever whatever color you'd like. So we've got the quick links that'll take you right to the section that you want to in your course, and we've got the ability to change our colors here. One other thing I would like to point out on the dashboard page before we move on is there's a toggle switch up here on the right. If you drag that over here, you will be brought into a different kind of view of the dashboard. And this is kind of like the activity stream in Canvas. It's kind of like that Facebook social media stream of consciousness view of notifications and things that are going on in all the courses you teach or you're a student in or observer in. So next up, let's take a look at the courses icon here. If you click on courses, you will see it's covered up a little bit by the number here, but you'll see the exact same 5 courses that you saw right there in the dashboard that I just showed you. And all the rest of them are still there, but you need to click on this link that says all courses. Doing that will bring up this familiar page. And then a lot of teachers actually haven't done this. They don't have any gold stars. So if you don't have any gold stars, it's by default, it's just the courses that are active, that are in an active term that hasn't ended, will be in your course menu. But I suggest you might want to consider starring your courses, and it's super simple. You just click on a gray star, and you click on a gray, it'll make it gold. Click on a gold, it'll make it gray. It's an on and off switch. And so star the courses you want, unstar, if you will, the courses that you don't want to see. They're never gone. They're just not in your way. So use the star. Next up, we're going to take a look at the calendar. I really like when you click on the calendar, you can immediately notice that not having the top global navigation menu anymore in Canvas is a real benefit in the calendar. It just makes the calendar, I think, more usable, larger, and just more lifelike. So as you look at the calendar, you'll notice that I predominantly have 2 colors here, and those colors are corresponding back to the colors that I picked for my courses in the dashboard menu. And you can turn the calendar on or off by clicking on these colors over here and displaying what you'd like. One power tip that you may or may not be aware of for calendar is you can actually drag and drop things on the calendar. So an activity, anything on your calendar, you can drag and drop it to any date, and it automatically changes the due date. You don't have to double click on the assignment and go into the field and change the due date like that. Just drag and drop it. And even cooler is you notice that there's a calendar over here on the right, a smaller version, which you can go forward and backward and into different years. You can actually go into a different month, a different year, wherever you want, and then drag something down here in the main calendar to a date on the small calendar, and it'll actually work. It's pretty slick. Next up, we have not only a new UI thing, but really a new feature, which is called Canvas Commons. When I hear Commons, I kind of think of Boston Commons and how it's kind of evolved around a shared space. And that's the central theme of Commons is sharing. And when we share, we usually get more than we get. The more we share, the more we get. So The idea is you can share things when you go to share something. You'll be presented with some options. You can share it at your school level, your district level, or you can share it with the whole Canvas using community at large. And you can also find things. You can tag things. You can import things. There's even the ability to share things that like you can share a whole course, and then if you update the course and make it better or improve on it, the people that have it in their have imported it, they'll get a notification that you've updated. Would you like to update it too? And they can make a choice whether or not to do that. So it was something that was in beta last year. It's out of beta. Everybody has access to Commons now, and that is also under a feature flag that's controlled by your campus admin. So you can turn it on or off and kind of play with some permissions there. Next up, I just want to remind you as we go back to school, the importance of logging out. So the log out place has changed, so it might not be so obvious for you to log out, but it's still there. You're going to click on your user profile where it says account, and then you'll see the log out icon right here. Not logging out in leaving your classroom or where you're working, if you're not taking your computer with you, is pretty much the same thing as walking out your front door and leaving the keys in the front door. I've never heard of an instance reported where somebody actually was hacking into Canvas and breaking passwords and things like that. But there's been plenty of problems I know of at our institution where one student forgets to log out, or a teacher maybe possibly have forgotten to log out, and then somebody that's not so kind comes in on the computer after them and uses it and changes their profile picture and silly things like that, and it's no fun when that happens. So please log out. Please remind your students to log out. Last but not least, in this new UI, way down at the bottom, it's kind of unobtrusive, but hopefully it's not hard to find once you know where to look. It's the help menu, and it's small. It's kind of barely visible, but there's some great things in the help menu. As we go and explore the help menu, I just want to point out a couple things. First and foremost is the Canvas guides. 90 in the high 90% easy of what a user wants to do is in the Canvas guides. They just kind of have to figure out the right keyword or keywords to search for. This time of the year, without a doubt, probably the biggest question that I get asked is, how do I take the stuff from last year and put it in my course this year? In other words, in search terms, import content. So if you did a search on import content, you'll come right up into the Canvas guide that says something like, how do I import content into my Canvas course from another Canvas course, or something like that. So definitely the guides are a great place to start. If Canvas is actually not working as expected, not like I have a question, I don't know how to do something, but Canvas actually you think is broken, there is a report a problem, and that's what this is for. Depending on how your institution has set up and contracted with Canvas as part of their subscription, this varies a little bit, but in our institution, a teacher, a user, somebody clicks on that. The cool thing about that is Canvas captures what web browser you're using, what version it is, what OS you're using, what page you were on, a lot of different metrics that will help technical support solve the problem better and understand it. So this is better than just a phone call saying something doesn't work. So when that happens, a ticket gets generated. At my school district, I look at the ticket, and most of the time I can figure it out. But if I can't, I will escalate the ticket, sending it up the chain to Canvas technical support. And once I do that, I think there's a time limit. I think it's 48 hours, but I'd have to look it up. But I think it's less than 48 hours. It's in my experience, it's usually less than 24 hours. Somebody from Instructure responds and starts helping us. Um, not last, but second to last is there's an Ask the Community button link. And if you were to go there, you would go right into this wonderful new community. It's maybe not so new anymore, but I think a lot of people still haven't gotten in here and really seen the power of the community. So there's a search feature. There's getting started tutorials. This is all powered on Jive software, which major companies like DirecTV, T-Mobile use. So this is not a lightweight community. This is the real deal, and has a lot of features and a lot of power behind it. But really, the biggest power behind the community is the group of users that are assembled there. For instance, this happens every day in the community. Um, a user, Marina in this case, had a specific question about using groups in a group assignment. Um, Within 24 hours, she had 8 replies from different users with suggestions. And then one of the community superstars, Kona Jones, which if you're in the community, you probably have seen her answering questions and helping people. She answered correctly, and it was marked correct, so that everybody knows that this is the accepted solution. And oops, sorry about that. And it's just amazing that the kindness and just all the different talents of different Canvas using people around the country, and or even in different countries now, that just are willing to help other users and want to kind of learn together. And then the other thing about the community is, and I didn't think this would matter much to me, because I'm not a person who plays games. I don't have any games on my phone. I don't play solitaire. I don't know. I'm not a gamer. But I noticed as I started getting in the community, I asked a question, I did something, I shared an opinion, I answered a question, I liked some things, I marked some things helpful, and I couldn't help but notice I was getting points, and then I made it to level 1, and I made it past level 1, and I only had 20 more points to go to get the next badge or the next level, and I found myself being drawn into that. And I actually think it's pretty fun. And so I think this is a great example of gamification at its best. And I know that's a hot topic in education right now, is how can we use principles of gamification in our courses, and how can we leverage that to drive more engagement in our subject areas. So this is a great example, a great model for us to think about and to get ideas from. So get in the new community, get some points, interact with some people, answer some questions, ask some questions, and I think you'll really find it worth your while. Last but not least, there's also a submit a feature idea. You probably saw a link to that in the previous screenshot. But this is basically how Canvas is building the majority of the product now. They are responding very proactively now to the feature request ideas. There's a formal process which you can read a little bit more about, but basically an idea is submitted. It's kind of researched for a little bit. Is there another idea that's out there that's exactly the same? Well, then we'll point to that one. If not, and it looks good, it'll be open during the next voting period usually, and the voting period's about three months or so. And I think last I heard, if an idea has 100 votes, you will get that idea will get serious consideration from product, and product will address that. Not necessarily building it exactly the way it was requested, but they will respond back with rationale in their plans. And that's pretty much it for the new UI. But there's one more thing that I want to make sure we go over here, and that's the things that are missing. You may have somebody, and you may notice yourself, that you're in there and, okay, I see the global navigation on the left, but what happened to my course navigation on the left? Where is it? And we certainly don't want you to play Where's Waldo while you're trying to build your course content and you're trying to manage your course and give students feedback and things like that. So the secret actually is it's there, and see, it looks like that. But how do you get it? Um, Canvas is actually kind of now a little bit more responsive than it used to be. So if your screen width is less than 1200 pixels, so if you have a laptop and it's maybe older and it doesn't support a higher screen resolution, this might be your case. Or you don't have your window open all the way and it's not dragged all the way wide, I'd suggest you do that when you're working with Canvas. But if not, it's okay. It's just collapsing that menu so you have more space to work in. And you can always override this by clicking on the 3 horizontal lines up here where I have the arrow pointing. You do that, the menu will drop down, and it remembers it for a session, I believe. So that's important. We want to know about that. The next thing is if you notice the global navigation on the left, you see some things that weren't there before, like commons maybe, but you do not see one thing that was there all the time, and it was grades. And for us, this was always a pain point because parents would want to click on that, and it wasn't necessarily easy to go from, if you're observing more than one student, to see. And it would just, like, there was 2 places to click on grades, so people got confused all the time. So where did grades go? Well, the grades really, the best way to get to them is in the courses. So you click on in your course, the student is in the course, then they would click on the grades link there. So there is no official icon for grades. However, I've discovered that if you just, after the URL of your Canvas institution, like, so ours is hbuhsd.instructure.com. If you do a / and then just type in grades, you will see the grades for all your courses that you're taking and teaching. So that's a tip. I don't know if it'll stay that way, but right now it works, and I think that's pretty good. We'll see what happens. Okay, so that's it for the new UI. We've covered the new outfit, but what else? Has Canvas been doing anything else in terms of features that we can talk about and that we might want to know about and we might want to try to use this year? Because, hey, let's face it, we're going to need more than a fancy outfit to get us through this year. School is tough. So something I have to tell you about is something that a lot of people I know requested, was an excuse feature in the gradebook. So it's like that spell Harry Potter uses that trumps everything, expecto pardinium or something like that. I'm sorry, I'm not a Harry Potter fan, really. I like the movies though. But anyway, the spell, as I understand it, it trumps everything, right? So now you can magically wave your Mag X wand and excuse any assignment for any student in any course that you're teaching. So all you have to do that is enter in an EX in the cell of the gradebook or the score, and it will be excused. And you can see an example of what that looks like right there. And then the student will also see that it is excused. So no longer do you have to just leave it blank and kind of have that ominous, like, well, what is it? Did the student do it? Did not turn it in, or what? Now you've got an excuse. And as I understand it, there will be more things like this coming to future gradebook updates. Next, the differentiation feature is amazing. So my challenge to you all is to dare to differentiate this year. Assignments can now be differentiated up to the individual level. So we're talking. So here's an example. I have an assignment. I just need the Buellers to do this. Now I start typing in Ferris's name. It comes up. Yep. Jeannie's name comes up. Yep. But I could have just done Ferris. And so I put the due date in there, everything. Now, nobody in Ferris's class, let's say Ferris is in period 3, Jeannie's in period 4. Nobody in period 3 or 4 will know about this. except for Ferris and Jeannie. And when I look at my grade book, it'll be grayed out for everybody, and I won't even be able to enter a grade for them except for Ferris and Jeannie. So that is pretty cool. So you can really actually give them the extra practice that they need, or an alternative assignment that they might need to help them better learn the material and master it. But let's say, oh yeah, Ferris needs it, Jeannie needs it, but you know what? My period one, I really need to go back and reteach some things there, or they need to look at this. But period one doesn't need as much time. So I clicked add, I clicked period one. Period one's it's due August 21st. Ferris and Jeannie's August 31st. So and you can keep on going. And the flexibility here is just mind blowing. So very, very, very cool. Very, 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 very cool. Kudos to Canvas for doing that. Next up is peer reviews. You can now peer without the fear. So there's a thought. There is some of our teachers were saying, I've done peer reviews before, but they're, the feedback that my students are giving is kind of, you can tell they're guarded. They're not being genuine. They're, afraid to hurt people's feelings, or afraid of maybe a little peer pressure backlash. Well, if you check the anonymity box here, check peer reviews appear anonymously. Not only do the people that are getting reviewed, so I'm leaving comments for somebody and a review for somebody, they don't know who I am. It just says anonymous user. And I don't, unless the student's putting their name on their blog or their PDF that they're turning in or whatever they're turning in, I don't know who I'm reviewing. It says I'm reviewing anonymous user. So it's the best of both worlds. There's anonymity in it. But yes, the teacher knows who's reviewing who, and they can, if there's something that goes wrong or they need to address, they can see who is reviewing who, but the reviewers cannot. So I'd encourage you to try this and see what kind of difference it makes, and post your experience about it in the community and let us know. Next is in the discussions. I'm super excited about this. It kind of actually mirrors the Jive community, where you can like things. Facebook, of course, you can like things, and other social media you can like things. Our students like liking things. They grew up with this. This is native to them. I would encourage you to allow liking in your discussions. There's some options here. One of the cool ones I think is you can sort by likes, and that actually would give maybe a whole new way, open up new avenues that you can use discussions. Just by, you can kind of vote on different ideas with the likes. So just because it's a discussion doesn't mean that you're limited to, kind of using it as the traditional, I got to discuss an idea and respond to, two other people. So think of some creative ways you can use this, and again, share those out in the community. In the wild, so to speak, this is what likes look like. If you haven't liked something, it will be a gray thumb, kind of like the gray star. If you have liked it, the thumb turns blue, and you would notice that the number of likes on it went up. There's the number of likes for this particular post. And then last but not least, there's been some mobile updates in the iOS platform. The number one help ticket that I got from students that really shouldn't have been a help ticket, but they submitted it anyway, was and I couldn't blame them. They kind of, some of them didn't realize they can subscribe to a calendar in the iCal feed and all that. But regardless, they all wanted a calendar native app in Canvas. So they wanted the calendar to be built into the Canvas app. And now it is. It looks really cool. You can see over here, on June 12th, there's something due in this biology course because of the color, and then this U.S. history course. And if they click on that, they'll be able to see the details of that. So really nice. Also, there's the quizzes are native in the app, so they work much better now. And then last but not least, this happened before school ended, but I just want to reiterate the importance of this one and the power of this one. There's now a big button in Canvas, and it's called Save and Publish. You can see that it's still blue, which people kind of like, oh, color blue, I'm going to click on that. But if you click on save and publish, if you're building content on the fly in your course, that is a huge time saver and problem solver, because a lot of times teachers would build something, they would hit save, which is great, but then not realizing I forgot to publish it, and then students would try to get to it, and they would send in help tickets, and it wasn't really good. It wasn't ideal. But now this kind of button set has been implemented throughout Canvas, and it's really cool. So that is the end of kind of my highlights for back to school feature changes and the new outfit that Canvas has. I wish you all a great and successful year. I hope this presentation helps you. And if you ever need to get a hold of me, I am in the Canvas community. And then you can also, I'd love to interact with people on Twitter, and I primarily use it for educational things. So feel free to follow me or mention me or whatever, and I'll follow back. So I'm at CLongHB. Again, have a great year, and we'll see you in the community.